Good evening, I'm Annie.
And I'm Emma. Welcome to Buddy at Night,
where we take a behind-the-scenes look at how Buddy was made. You can't make an elephant without a strong foundation, and Buddy was no exception. Underneath the fur and the clothes is an understructure that makes Buddy's body look and move the way it needs to.
The first thing we had to consider when beginning to create an elephant was how big is he and how does it look when he stands on 2 feet. So we began our process with a rendering to scale so we could feel his actual presence and size. This drawing was how we made sure every piece we made matched our intended size and shape, which was trickier than we anticipated.
After a lot of research of many styles of mascots, we settled on a foam pod and spiral limb structure based on the needs of our design. The build process started with his body pod that hangs from straps on the shoulders. The pod is made out of a special open cell foam commonly used for puppet making. The foam was patterned and glued together in several test versions before landing on the final pattern. The pod is supported from the inside by a pair of hula hoop bones that keep it from collapsing under its own weight. This pod then had to be covered with athletic mesh that protects the foam from damage and makes it easier to attach other pieces to it.
His torso was draped over webbing straps that held up the butt, then mated in canvas, zippered on, and we found out he needed more shoulder and chest shaping. So back to our foam. This time, adding padding to the areas that needed it, and shaping it with piggy netting and drill. These were all snapped on, and then needed to be smoothed out with a layer of spandex and fur.
The torso base was attached to the body with a pair of zippers, making removal easy should it need to be washed. Once the core body was completed, it was time to create the limbs. Costumes like this need to be kept as lightweight and cool as possible, so simply creating padded arm and leg pieces is not the best route.
Instead, we built up bulk by creating mesh tube structures with plastic boning to create coiled sleeves that floated around the arms and legs.
With the basic bulk of the body established, the next step was smoothing everything out to keep the rigid parts of the structure from appearing under the clothes. For the torso, a stretch fabric vest went over the padding, and then a layer of fur.
For the arms, we had to create a transition structure from the shoulder into the arm, and also from the wrist into the arm. A bone shoulder covering attached to the stretch fabric vest and fed into the coiled tube base.
At the wrist, the gloves that encompassed his hands were attached directly to the coiled base.
For the legs, a larger sleeve of mesh floated around the coiled tube base and attached to the ankles of the shoes. The intention here was to smooth between the coils and the trousers.
And that is how Buddy got his body.